This brings us to the idea of the window of tolerance. So imagine that your ability to deal is like a window, or your ability to cope is like a window. And it's not like a window that you like open and close in your house, but more like a window of space. So you can be like within this window of tolerance, above it, or below it. When we're in our window of tolerance, it feels like we are able to stay in like a healthy relationship with our emotions, like we can cope with our stress, we're feeling pretty calm and even. So when we're in our window of tolerance, it feels like we can handle anything, even really difficult situations. So some examples are like if your little brother comes in and is really bugging you, you can just say, okay, leave me alone, or just ignore him. You can get through that mountain of homework, even if it feels like a lot and it takes you a long time. Or you're having a conflict with a friend and it's stressful and it's scary, but you feel like you can deal with it and get through it okay. On the other hand, when we feel like we're in mesh or really tied up in our emotions, or when we're overly tired or hungry or just feeling really overwhelmed, you're probably outside of your window of tolerance. And it feels like you can't really think straight or behave like you'd want to. So during these times when we're outside of our window, maybe that's the day when your little brother comes into your room and you just lose it and start yelling at him to get out, leave me alone, you're so annoying. Or you have that mountain of homework and you just give up and just feel like it's impossible to get through. You can't even imagine how you would do all of that work tonight. Or maybe you're having that argument with your friend and you kind of blow up and text something mean that you regret later. Those times are when we're really outside of our window. So you can be outside of your window in two directions, right? So if you're above your window of tolerance, those are the times when you're kind of in that fight or flight mode, which I'm sure you've all heard about before. So you're kind of feeling angry, maybe you're scared or anxious or overwhelmed or feel like you kind of lose control. Or when you're below your window, that's more the time when you're like in freeze mode. So feeling kind of sluggish, zoned out, just kind of going through the motions. So the difference between these scenarios that I listed isn't the actual event happening to us, but it's how we're feeling at the time. So in those examples, all the situations were the same. Like your brother came into your room when you didn't want him to, you had a bunch of homework, and you were having a disagreement with your friend. But it was the way that you react to those situations that really allows you to know where you're at in your window of tolerance. I also want to say that, we all have times when we're inside of our window, outside of our window, and that's all completely normal. Sometimes this even fluctuates moment to moment, just kind of based on how our day is going. So part of what we'll do next is an activity all about the window of tolerance. So we do have a worksheet available, but if you don't have that, feel free to just draw out your own window, just like the box on the slide before. So those three sections of a rectangle, essentially. So you can go ahead and pause the video here if you want to, so you can answer all of these questions on your own, and then you can just resume the video when you're done and you've taken the time that you need. Or you're welcome to just follow along with me as I read out the questions, and I'll list some examples too. So this might be a good option if you're feeling still kind of iffy on what the window of tolerance is, or if you just want some more examples before you kind of dive into thinking about this on your own. So first, we'll think of 3 things that get you out of your window. So 3 things that take you from that state of feeling pretty calm, pretty okay, to either anxious, nervous, overwhelmed, or just kind of numbed out, zoned out. So some examples are maybe not getting enough sleep the night before. Again, maybe having a bunch of homework, schoolwork, a test coming up that you're anxious for. getting in an argument with your family. Maybe you have like a baseball game or a swim meet coming up and you're stressing out and it's kind of making everything feel a bit like you're on edge more than you would be. Maybe some of those examples fit for you. So then we'll take some time to identify 3 things that help you get back into your window of tolerance. So when you're feeling kind of dysregulated and overwhelmed or anxious, what are things that help you get back to feeling calm and centered and okay? So these might be some of the things that you identified in the first video about things you already do to help cope. So maybe listening to your favorite songs, watching, your favorite show on Netflix, like that would be The Office for me. Get a good laugh in, going for a walk, just taking time to text or talk with friends and get some support, or even just taking some time to relax. And then the third question is, what do you look like or feel like when you get outside of your window? So this one takes a little bit more kind of insight and reflection because it's going to be different for all of us. Like some of us might tend to really go above our windows and get more like anxious and kind of hyped up when we're feeling a bit dysregulated, whereas others, you might notice that you tend to feel more sluggish and low energy and lethargic and kind of zoned out. So maybe it feels like your heart is racing when you're out of your window, and that's how you know. Or even you notice that your thoughts racing, like your mind is going a mile an hour. Maybe it's hard to focus, or you feel like you're just distracted really easily when you normally wouldn't be. Maybe you feel angry or just extra emotional. Or maybe you're just like feel really tired and I just don't feel like I have any energy to do anything. And then our last question is, how do you feel when you're inside your window of tolerance? So that might feel like calm or centered, connected, rational, present. You can see if any of those words fit, or go ahead and think of things on your own as well. So hopefully that exercise and those questions helped you get a little bit more aware of what the window of tolerance looks like for you. Again, this is going to be different for all of us, which is part of why I think, it's really worth taking some time to sit and think about how you can identify these levels of the window of tolerance for yourself. And if it felt kind of challenging right now to think of answers, that's totally normal. This can be a really new way of thinking about ourselves and our feelings, and sometimes it can just be a bit tricky at first, but it will get easier with practice. So I encourage you to just consider, just continue reflecting on, when in your day you feel kind of calm and centered and when you feel kind of like you're out of your window.